Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey, now everybody, welcome to episode 389 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson, send you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
On today's show, we're going to be talking about the latest releases. Yes, Fast X, that movie that came out Memorial Day weekend that we're just catching up on, as well as, what else do we see here? Hypnotic, the Ben Affleck, Robert Rodriguez film, One Ranger, Thomas Jane's collaboration with stuntman turned director Jesse V. Johnson, and our thoughts on The Black Demon. This is that Josh Lucas film you may have seen. It was trending on Prime a while back. We're going to discuss that along with trailers for Aquaman, Thanksgiving, Wonka, and The Marvels. We got a packed show, but as we always do, we're going to start it off with a little bit of trivia. Trevor's already got it queued up. He's ready to roll. He's ready to throw these darts right at me. Let's see if I can dodge them like Neo's dodging bullets in The Matrix. What do you got?
All right, we got Dustin Hoffman plays the character Ratzo in Midnight Cowboy. What is Ratzo's real name? Rocco, Salvatore, Philly, or Enrico?
I want to say it's Enrico because I remember hearing it, and when we saw this, I've only seen this movie a few times. I remember thinking that didn't fit the character. I'm going to go with that.
I have no idea. Well, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. I only remember that because I remember thinking how out of place Hoffman seemed as an Enrico, even though he's much lauded for that performance. Speaking of, did you know that they were doing Rain Man 35th anniversary re-release this week in the theaters?
I swear to God, I almost thought you were going to say they're doing a sequel.
It's about time.
Rain Man. This time everyone gets wet. No, I didn't know they were releasing it. I don't think I would go see that movie in the theater anyways.
I love that film, but I don't think I rewatched it in quite some time, and I don't know if I could sit through it.
I don't think it requires a theater.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'd probably be better off actually watching that at home. Get your snacks out, get nice and cozy. That's one of those types of movies.
That was a big VHS rental type movie, and it played beautifully.
Huge, yeah.
On the small screen. I've only seen it on the small screen, obviously, but I do recall it being it was a date type movie for my parents and their friends and things like that when I was younger. Mm-hmm. But I caught up with it on HBO and screenings like that. I don't even think I've ever seen it in widescreen, even though I own the DVD. I don't think I've ever opened it.
I'll give you the next one that queued up here because this is really hard.
Go ahead.
Which of these filmmakers directed the record-breaking blockbuster Titanic?
Spielberg.
Oh, that's wrong.
Oh, man.
Ew, it's James Cameron. Who knew?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think that guy's got a career in front of him.
Yeah, it's one of these questions in this book just to make you feel good, you know?
I mean, some of these questions in the book are so hard that it defies logic, and others are so easy that you're thinking that it's a bingo parlor. And these are the kind of questions that they're asking.
They got all kinds of people to make these questions up, I guess.
You got another one in there? Let's do one more. I'm feeling good.
Sure. All right. What is Ingrid Bergman's relation to director Ingmar Bergman? We got niece, daughter, no relation, stepdaughter.
I think there's no relation.
I know, right? But this is... Look, I'm going to do that. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like
for a moment. I was almost like, oh, no.
I feel like we learned that in a film theory class, and it was like a joke.
Did we?
I want to say, I remember a corny joke, a professor... This is what I do. I don't actually remember knowledge. I remember things that happened that it's like I don't memorize the knowledge. I remember it written on a chalkboard. So it's I want to say one of our corny teachers made a joke about that, and it stuck with me. I'm going to take that as a 3-0.
Well, look, we got
on
it.
A win streak.
We did it today.
Yeah, okay, that's good. I feel validated and
really good. That Titanic one we got wrong though. So to be fair, we're 1 and 2. You know.
Yeah, I'll try better next time.
It's rough. Yeah.
Let's talk about the stuff that we've seen, and the biggest movie on the menu for tonight is probably Fast X, in that it reached the most amount of people. This was, well, not as big as a hit here in the States as they had hoped for. Globally, it was a massive hit, outgrossing such franchise massive fare as Spider-Man, Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, all these other franchises that came out sans maybe Guardians of the Galaxy and Barbie, obviously. But it performed admirably, and I waited to see this on Peacock. I was not rushing to see this. I have to admit, the last Fast and Furious F9 really surprised me how playful it was and how much I enjoyed it. So I don't know why I was so hesitant to see Fast X. Having said that, this is a movie that the first act is so badly constructed. I felt
yes.
I could not understand.
Thank you. I hated this
where
movie.
this was going.
Bit of this movie, yeah, and that first action sequence, actually, the big action sequence in this, not the opening, not the
retread,
the Paul Walker stuff, yeah. What do you call it? Retconning, not that part of it.
Well, let me briefly.
Although this movie is super interesting. Oh, you go ahead and set it up. Yeah.
Joaquin Almeida, though, looks awful in that de-aging they do for him as Jason Momoa's father. They're clearly de-aging an actor. I don't even know if it's him. That looks awful. It's the worst I've seen in a long time. But I just want to say I was not with this movie, and I was kind of looking at it like it was an absolute mess. And then this bizarre thing happened where I started watching what Jason Momoa was doing. I started realizing that Vin Diesel was a bit relaxed in his performance in this. He wasn't so over the top. And I started having fun. When John Cena put on Marky Mark's music and said, this guy used to be an underwear model with this goofy grin, I thought, we're achieving something here that none of the other blockbusters I saw this summer did. That was create a level of fun and humor, and I got into this. And by the time it was over, I actually am looking forward, God help me, to Fast 11.
Yes.
How is this possible?
For me, well, I'll tell you my rundown of this, because I hated this movie and in the start of this. I thought, oh my god, this stupid retcon bullshit thing is going to wind up being his fucking long lost cousin, right? And at the end, they're all going to be friends and shit. And so it starts, and then you get the bomb scene where they're running around doing this, and Momoa is just acting like an idiot the whole time. Like, I don't understand. He's like doing the orchestra, running around. He's like, it's just ridiculous, and it's a stupid opening nonsense scene. And then the movie calms down for a bit, and the part that really got me though is when I realized that like Momoa is like inserted into the movie, right? I mean, literally at the beginning they retcon him into the fucking movie.
Yeah,
he's inserted in.
It's his story,
and he acts like someone who's been inserted into the Fast and Furious movies. Like this turned, no, bro, this is fucking Expendables 3 shit. This is some meta fucking crazy shit here, right? When they go to Rio and like it's going to be old school like Fast and Furious, they're going to race and shit. And Dom shows up there and he's like, oh, I'm doing my shit. He's meeting his dudes and all this shit. And then in walks fucking Dante in his fucking purple getup.
Yep.
Just as gay as can be, just like, hey, what? I
Dante
can't remember what he said, but
he says
Dante Shante. Oh my god! I fucking died laughing. I was like, oh my god, this dude is like fucking knows he's inserted into a movie. Like this guy's playing like big time, And obviously that's not what's in the movie. He's just playing because he doesn't give a shit anymore. But it feels like the writers almost feel like they know that it's Fast X. They've gone this far and it's fucking ridiculous, right? And this guy, throughout this whole movie, Dante, isn't just two steps ahead of Dom. Dante's read the fucking script. Like, he understands the fucking Fast and Furious, right? He understands what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and he acts like that. He acts like he's untouchable because he already fucking knows. He's ahead of everything.
He's gamed the movie almost.
And oh, are you kidding me? Because he retcons the fucking retcon. But that's the twist at the end of this fucking movie, bro. Like, like my mind fucking blew. And not only that, but this is fun. I liked the sequences that didn't have them in it. That were just the secondary characters, their group going through London and trying to figure everything out. I fucking liked that. I thought they actually were somewhat fleshed out characters who got to do things and say things and react to each other. And of course, they were used by Dante whenever, they could be, whenever they came together and stuff. And like you say, the fucking John Cena stuff just made me want to see John Cena in a leading role again in an action movie, because God, he's badass when he shows up in that movie.
And funny and charming and amusing.
Yeah.
And
so I loved this movie. Like you, I agree. Like by the time I got to the end of this fucking movie, I was like, dude, bro, when they release the fucking next one of these, I'm buying this set in 4K because I fucking want to watch these movies.
I think I had told you that I've been going back and revisiting the series steadily throughout the summer. I watched Fast 9 again about a month ago, so I had a just amount of time to get used to this one. And in doing so, you see how the fractured nature and how hard everybody has worked to really make these into a cohesive experience as much as possible. Watching this was the first time I actually felt in a long time, maybe since going back to Fast and Furious 7, where I actually liked the villain. I didn't give a shit much about Cypher. I did. I thought the
Cypher Letty stuff though worked as well.
In this,
like as a little reprieve and from before. Sure.
But as the villain from the last one, I didn't particularly care for John Cena as the villain because I like him so much. I thought he was kind of low key as the villain, whereas Momoa is either doing a Joker impersonation here. He's almost doing like a like he's bringing the Joker into this. And when he is on the bridge,
it's that same mentality.
And he's saying, I'm a Swan Lake guy. You look like you're into the Nutcracker. I mean, that shit was making me laugh. And then when he throws his tooth at him and calls him a butthole, I mean, what the fuck is happening here? It's who let this man go off unhinged in this movie?
It's perfect.
It absolutely is.
This was a fantastic movie. This, like I say, this brought me back to like the Expendables 3, where what's going on in this movie is the movie's realizing it's a movie, and the characters in the movie are realizing they're in a movie, but they're not, because that wouldn't make any sense at all. That's not what the movie is, but it feels like it has that kind of mentality to it, and I don't know, it just adds like a layer of absolute fun. Like it gives you this freedom, to actually watch people do ridiculous things. Because it's not serious on any level. And I like that you say the Joker too, because that's what I thought too. I thought this dude's the Joker. This is when you fuck around and you find out, right? You do all this shit. This is the kind of thing that comes back at you. It's the same thing as Batman had, right? It's the same reason the Joker showed up.
Also, joy of performance. It really is a joy to watch this guy do it. Yeah. And ironically enough, when there is that, spoiler alert, the end credit sequence after the deal, when the movie ends, they have Dwayne Johnson reappearing.
Right.
I realized we didn't need him. He wasn't missed here on any level at all.
But you have a second movie to do, so I think that might... I mean, I'm intrigued, to be honest with you. That adds something to the second movie.
I even thought the addition of Brie Larson, which I wasn't particularly looking forward to, was handled nicely here. I thought that
well, she's unnecessary.
Absolutely, but so is
she's in here.
So is Alan Richardson, but he fits in nicely with the brooding, bulging superhero type look. Because these guys have become superheroes. But once again, I want to just point out the low key, pulled back nature of what Vin Diesel was doing here, who has been going over the top in a lot of
he was getting shit on the whole movie. He was getting beat down. Like, that's why I also like this movie, right? Because weren't you with Dom the whole time? Like, this guy's unfucking stoppable. He can't make a correct move. Like, he can't fucking win. This is like, this is like leading up to the snap and fucking Marvel shit where they can't fucking win. Right, like this is their Van Damming, right? They're getting this. He's fucking can't do it. So the next movie is where he's gonna fucking come out swinging.
And I can't wait to see what Momoa does in the next movie, if they let him ramp it up even further, or if it becomes tired. But I felt like I could watch him do what he was doing here for the rest of the day. I mean, honestly, I will rewatch this, which is a crazy thing for me to. If you had told me at the beginning of the summer, at Memorial Day, that at the end of the summer you are going to have enjoyed Fast X over
I wish I saw this in
Mission
theaters.
Impossible and this and that, I would have been like, you're out of your fucking mind. But it's true.
This was, I don't know if this is the best movie of the year. Actually, I know that it's not, because Oppenheimer's really fucking good. But this is the funnest movie of the year that I've seen, period. Actually, in a couple years. This is just absolute wall-to-wall fun. And if I had understood what was happening in the first half of opening 15 minutes or so of this 20 minutes, I don't know how long.
20 minutes.
Actually. But if I had understood what was going on, I would have liked it. I would have liked it even more, because again, the opening was more like the latter half of the Fast and Furious movies, where much like the direct opening where they pull the bank and do all that shit. That was what the opening sequence to this movie was, where they try to stop the bomb. I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know how they figured that out to show up there and do all that shit. Obviously, they were led by Dante, but whatever. My point is that it's kind of a fucking brilliant movie.
It's dumb fun, and it shouldn't be this good on number 10, but somehow they have re-energized, not to be punny, but they have re-energized
and
the whole series here.
One of the few times that it feels like splitting up a movie made sense.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it was an arbitrary decision. It actually, I didn't mind the cliffhanger element.
I totally understand. Like, lots of people were like, oh, I'm so excited for Dune 2. And I thought, really? Because I feel like I don't even need to see it. I know what happens. I'm good. But I understand that excitement right now.
Not to beat a dead horse, but
I'm in their seats.
Once again, out of the two-handers that I saw this summer, which is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Fast X, even though the story may have been more completed in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, I am more excited to see the next Fast and Furious movie, which I cannot believe I am saying, but I am saying. So,
but what does that mean? I think that means a good thing for Fast X2, but kind of a bad thing for the next Mission Impossible.
Absolutely. I think they're in serious trouble with where that goes, and they really need to parse it down. Even though this ran for 220 and they could have trimmed it down, that opening sequence with Rita Moreno as the great-grandmother was relatively unnecessary. And there was a lot of remembers, in this movie with the callbacks and even just be opening up at Dodger Stadium in the parking lot, but it didn't bother me as much as it has in previous installments of this and even in other franchises. It all somehow worked out once they got past that Rome sequence, which, even though is not handled great, it's better than the Rome sequence in, once again, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and that's why I keep thinking about the two as well. But I'm excited to see the next one. I can't believe I said that. I will watch this again, which I haven't said about a Fast and Furious movie since Part 1.
I probably will right before the next one comes out, and I'm going to see that next one in the theater because I'm not missing this again.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't see this one in theaters.
For sure, it'll be terrible.
Well, they're on a run now. 9 and 10 have been good, honestly. Better than the Hobbs and Shaw movie, which I didn't hate, but it wasn't this fun.
Yeah, the Hobbs and Shaw movie felt pointless.
It felt manufactured.
To be honest with you.
It wasn't this level of fun.
Mm-mm.
All right, let's move on and talk about the latest from Robert Rodriguez, that struggling filmmaker favorite of yours. I mean, this was somebody who you really admired when we were in our younger filmmaking days. You still have your level of admiration for Rodriguez after all this time? Do you still love his early work? Yeah, I figured. Him and Luc Besson, I always kind of associated with
I like what he does now. I mean, well, we just talked about Predators. He's got his own studio, does his own thing. I mean, what's not to like about that?
I do like that he's got the Double R Productions now. I guess Troublemaker Studios is gone, and he's got Double R. I saw at the beginning of this film Hypnotic that has recently been released once again to Peacock after a very limited and short theatrical run that didn't garner much attention. Ben Affleck in the starring role in this thriller that seems about a decade and a half too late, in my opinion. You said in our previous podcast that Predators was written on the set of Desperado back in 1995, and I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that about this script, because it feels very much like Leftovers. It's not necessarily a half-baked idea. I just feel like it's not a very compelling idea once you get past the setup. I did think that there were moments that were effective. I think that Robert Rodriguez can still direct scenes, and there's a B-movie exuberance to this that I kind of appreciate, and I think Affleck invests the character he's dealing with a lot, but looking for the kidnapped child and some of the histrionics of the hypnotizing people and the William Fichtner character running around with this fucking lighter.
Well, there's straight up, Christopher Nolan stolen special effects and scenes and score.
There's even that
goes along with
something
it.
from Fallen, like the Denzel Washington movie, or Shocker, the Wes Craven movie. I felt like something was.
I mean, this movie. The problem with this movie is that the whole setup is. well, how do you say it without giving it away, right? I mean, the payoff to this movie is just fucking dumb.
It's not worth
it's the only thing I could say. Yeah, you go through all this stuff just to learn that, what you see isn't what you think you see. It's like, okay, well, what do I see? And then they tell you, and it's kind of like, all right, well, let's hurry this along. I get it.
And it's the cards are stacked against you from the front because they're never giving you enough information where you could put that together on your own.
Exactly. Well, right. But that's what I mean. So you watch the movie's interesting at first. At least I thought it was. The original premise of the movie as it presents itself is interesting. I would have watched that movie, but that's not the movie you're watching. I mean, honestly, for as bad as like Paycheck was, at least it was the movie it was. This movie wants to be something more, and it just doesn't happen.
I also think it shows its hand a little early, and I lost interest after it did. I think they could have held the cards back a little longer than they did, but I mean, it's hard.
Well, there's a double twist, right? There's a twist, and then there's another twist in the end,
which we start getting,
which is even stupider.
Yeah, we start getting into this territory. I feel like we're getting into Joe Esterhaus territory, where it's just a twist upon a twist upon a twist, just to make it. For what,
right.
to get the structure correct of the whole thing. But
who's hypnoticing who? Find out. Watch Hypnotic and find out.
I do think Rodriguez still can put scenes together, individual scenes that are very compelling. I think that watching him, I guess seeing some of the limitations and sets that did look a little cheesy, or some lighting that was a little bit over dramatic and stuff. I kind of liked that about this.
It's kind of supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. It was stylized.
Not to give anything away, but that's half the point of it. I don't know. This isn't his best directing work. It's really not his best work, period. I'd like to see him go back to basics, and just make a basic movie again, but I don't think he's going to do that.
I'd like to see him make something outside again. Like a Desperado.
Sure.
Like, let's get on some real
exactly.
locations.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just make a real movie.
Yeah, let's get away from the green screens. Let's get some actual tactile sets where even a Desperado or a Once Upon a Time look back. Anything like that. So I would love to see him complete that trilogy, but I don't think he would at this point. Though he is very prolific. I think we're getting another Spy Kids movie out of him as well. So. Good for him for maintaining the course. And
I just don't watch those.
Yeah,
especially without Alba. What's the point?
Yeah, well, even Antonio Banderas added so much to those early ones. It was a lot of fun.
Sure.
He was.
You had Stallone.
Yeah, Stallone. You can't forget about Stallone. And Carla Gogano as the wife was good too. But. I don't know. I just felt like this was one of those blockbuster exclusive DVDs you would have seen back in the day, like something Rennie Harlan would have directed back in 2007, or this should have starred Richard Gere,
Yeah, and this would have been a Sony movie in the mid 2000s. Like I say, this is very paychecky. Like, I don't know, Ben Affleck. I don't know. His choices in movies sometimes.
As I watched it, I started thinking, Affleck's such a talented director himself and writer. What could he have possibly attracted him to this material? And why didn't he take a stab at rewriting it? You wonder, is he just picking up a paycheck here? It's odd. But I think a missed opportunity for all involved, and really a forgettable little psycho thriller. Okay, let's move on. And let's talk about The Black Demon. This is the supernatural shark film that was directed by Adrian Grunenberg. I can't remember this guy's name right. This is Grunberg. This is the guy who did Rambo: Last Blood, Get the Gringo, a selection of other films, and this is now his third film, including those, that takes place really south of the border, and he has a very nice shooting style. His movies are always framed very nicely. They're very professionally done and classically done. And at every chance, I wanted to like this movie. I liked the setup with the divers, and then when you meet the family, which Josh Lucas stars as the father of this Nixon Oil, who's going to go out and decommission this oil rig in South America, and this local Megalodon, I guess. I mean, what is it? It's just it's a local.
It's a megalodon.
Yeah, but it's a local like spirit too. It's kind of a like a Bigfoot of the sea or whatever you call Loch Ness type supernatural aspect to it too, right? Because it needs to be summoned and all this bullshit. Did you not pick up on this?
I don't think that was. I'm right. There's a religion versus science thing that happens in this movie. I didn't pay very close attention to all that because I thought it sounded like shit. And quite honestly, the Megalodon, the special effects in this are horrendous. And it is hard to watch. It's so unengaging. There's only so many times I can watch Josh Lucas and these guys on a catwalk, talking about bullshit to fill the space,
And what it is a lot of not moralizing, but kind of debating this environmental topic. And maybe that seemed good on paper, but as it plays, this thing becomes deadly dull. I thought it was for a creature
during
feature.
Shark
It's
attacks,
boring.
like in between, like there's a shark attack about to happen. It should be suspenseful, and they're like having some argument about like, do you believe in this or do you believe in that, or are you going to, who are you? Are you here to stop us, or are you actually here to clean things up? And Josh Lucas is like, I didn't know anything. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
It's a very...
I'm bored
Yeah, I know. It's a very confused movie, and it's got a great poster. It's got a great title. I knew we might have been in a little trouble in that opening shot when the black demon of the title is coming out of the water to attack the guy in the boat, and it's a shot from inside the jaws, and it looks like somebody is swimming up with a camera and a set of teeth with the camera. But it's a terrible effect. It looks like something you'd see in a film school production, to be honest with you. And I thought, okay, maybe this is going to be a fun little B movie, but then it got so heavy-handed with its themes and the dialogue, and it just was not in keeping with what the creature feature ethos is, really.
And it felt like a sci-fi movie back in the day, not
a good one,
not an 8 p.m. one. It felt like the one that comes on at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
But even those have a sense of fun. This had no sense of humor to it. It was deadly
some of those
serious.
I mean, some of those are just as bad as this. So I don't know.
Didn't you think it took itself way too seriously, though? Every character was way too self-important. The story itself was not as interesting as I think that the writers thought it was, but it was shot nicely. I mean, there's some beautiful location photography.
Yeah, well, most of it doesn't make any sense, right? They go down to the diving bell for what I don't really understand it. They're trying to bomb the fucking place. I don't get the fucking movie. And the shark seems
arbitrary.
impotent.
It seems like it's an arbitrary aspect of the story.
It's unable to do it. And the sizing of the shark doesn't.
The scales
it doesn't
off.
Stay the correct scale.
Yeah. It's like the old Godzilla.
It's small, it's big.
Problem.
It's here. It's there. I don't. Yeah, figure it the fuck out. And it can't get you if you're literally on the water level, but you're on the platform. It can't get you. But if you're just in the water, it can get you. It makes no sense. It's fucking huge. It would just eat you right off the fucking side of the thing.
I think
there's no railing. It's just you standing there.
The producers were hoping that you were going to pay so much attention to the debating that was going on in the dialogue between the characters that you weren't going to pay attention to the fact that this thing is omnipresent, can move, is apparently clairvoyant, and knows where they're going to be before they know they're going to be.
I don't know. I mean, it's halfway interesting that he shows up to the place and they're like trying to keep it subdued or keep it there. They're not really dealing with the rig anymore. They're beyond that, and those guys are there just to kind of deal with the shark at this point, or with the, as you say, with the spirit, or whatever the hell it is. But it's I don't know. It's weird. Why all these guys just wouldn't drive out there? Is weird too.
Well, they fumble the fact that it has the supernatural element, because that isn't played up as nearly as much as it should be for how dangerous this thing's supposed to be. And I thought the best scene in the whole movie was in the beginning when he first gets to town and the wife basically gives the guy money to show them where a restaurant is and calms this whole scene down. I thought that was a really nicely done scene. But this movie, once again, is lacking a sense of playfulness that something like Deep Blue Sea, Lake Placid. I don't understand why this is so heavy-handed. This whole exercise is way too serious.
It's so weird. I'm watching the behind the scenes as we're talking right now, and so many of these sets are on a blue screen. It's kind of nuts.
I wouldn't have known that, so, well, that's good that they've...
Neither would I, so it's kind of crazy.
Well, I did say that Grenenberg, him and his cinematographers typically put a good-looking product on the screen. Rambo, Get the Gringo, and even the opening sequences of this with those sun-drenched lights and corridors.
This movie looks cheap, though. I mean, it looks like it's framed cheap. It doesn't look like someone who really knows what they're doing made this movie.
I don't know. I thought at least it looked competently made. I just didn't think that, other than the effects.
I disagree. I don't even think the framing is very good through a lot of it. It feels very made for TV. I mean, the visual effects, yeah, the shark visual effects are terrible. But not only that, it's not just that the visual effects are bad. It's planned poorly.
It's not mounted well.
You know, those sequences are, like I say, it's a joke because they're in the water. The next minute they're out of the water and they're safe. That's the whole planning that's gone into this, you know?
It's hard to make a good shark movie.
I don't know.
Let's be honest. It's been a long time. The Meg is a big budget version of these, but it's been a while since I saw a good one. I think the last one I saw was The Shallows that I liked.
Well, that's a great movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
But there you go. I mean, it's not that hard to make a shark movie. That's literally a person and a shark. I don't think shark movies are that hard to make. I think that even if you just want to make a fun one, that all the Sharknado movies are enjoyable.
They're fun. I'm a big fan.
So I don't know. You can go either way with it. This one's just, as you say, heavy-handed. But not only that, it fails outside of that. It just fails in the shark department. Like, I'm specifically it's called the Black Demon. It's a big shark on it. It's a megalodon thing. That's what I want to see, and that's not what I see when I watch this movie. It's in maybe like 15-20% of the movie, and it's not like Jaws where it's worthwhile scenes outside of just the shark, you know.
I would recommend, for something a little bit funner, Crawl, the alligator film from a couple years back.
Yeah, I mean, that one's
better than this. And
I wasn't a huge fan of that either. But
did you ever see Bait?
I just wouldn't recommend this one. Which
Bait,
one?
that Australian film. I like that, with the great white gets trapped in the flooded supermarket with the people. Mm-hmm. That's a fun one as well.
That one's better than this.
Yeah, I think both of those are better experiences than the Black Demon, which, for my money, was just too talky and too heavy-handed of a script to go along with what I thought they were trying to a creature feature should be, and what they're trying to accomplish with that.
Yeah.
Check Tremors for a better idea of what this could have been, in my opinion, or Eight-Legged Freaks, something like that. That's what I was expecting. Okay, let's talk about One Ranger, the Thomas Jane film with Jesse V. Johnson. I told you to watch this. I'm really curious about your take on it before I get into mine. So let me know what you thought, and then I'll give you my take.
Well, overall, I liked the movie, but it's very much a geezer pleaser. It feels like a mid-2000s Sony movie, straight to DVD, I should say, at that time. And he's kind of it's just a straight action movie, but he's kind of investigating. Not really, but he's kind of investigating, going along. So could have been a Tom Selleck movie. Could have been
Tom Berenger movie.
Tom Berenger. The one thing I'll give this over that is this has really pretty good fight scenes for something like this, which you wouldn't find normally in a movie like this. But hand to hand and kind of dangerous and stuff like that. So that was exciting, and all the parts in between are kind of run of the mill stuff. So I liked it. I thought it was good. It's not great, but I don't know. I like movies like this. I like movies where people go on investigations, and he's a pretty tough character in this, which is I always think an interesting for a ranger. A guy to go out there, not really messing around, just doing his thing. I don't know. It's all right. It was good.
Yeah, I thought this was like a spiritual cousin to Extreme Prejudice, because I thought that he was doing, Thomas Jane, that is, a Nick Nolte impersonation with that gravelly voice. And I mean, you close your eyes, you damn near see Nicholas.
The inflection is, for real. Like, that's exactly what he's doing. I don't know. I'm sure if you found special features on this somewhere, someone's got to ask, or someone's got to say, but it's exact. Like, the inflection to the voice. It's not just gravelly, like the way that it has upticks sometimes. Because Nick Nolte speaks oddly. He has like not as bad as Christopher Walken, but he has a weird tempo and like
it's very odd.
Up, yeah, and he'll like go up at the end of sentences sometimes. It's weird, but he does that in this, so there's no way he's not doing a Nick Nolte.
I mean, not only was the voice, I thought, an homage. There's a sequence where he's in his tighty whities and he kind of sitting on the edge of his bed and he's all crumpled and he's kind of unfucking himself and getting stretched. And that's North Dallas 40, the very beginning with Nick Nolte as the football player. And I thought, there's these Nick Nolte homages all through this movie. But getting past that, this character is also in the Clint Eastwood tradition where he's a gruff, no-nonsense. You know, he's got a line in there, you talk more than my ex-wife. And there's a lot of that kind of ultra macho shit in here. And I liked the character. I thought it was hilarious when he's got the rifle and he's shooting people down at a mile and a half, you know.
He's like Quigley down under over there with that fucking rifle,
great.
Man.
And I did like the way he treated his prisoner. I thought they were going to be buddies and team up on something. Nope, he's a man of the law and that's what he's going to do. Where the movie gets a little sidetracked, where the majority of it takes place, is in London, where he's the fish out of water. And that becomes a little bit more, in terms of story, I guess, straightforward and run-of-the-mill. But you mentioned the fight scenes, and this was directed by Jesse V. Johnson, who's a former stuntman. And the fight scenes here, just like in his other work with Scott Adkins, like Avengement, is really good. And the brutality of it punctuates the movie.
And the danger, right? Like this guy has to go through a lot of shit to beat some of these people in these fight sequences. Like this dude almost dies like almost every time he runs into these guys.
Right. He's not a hero who comes out unscathed. I mean, he is bruised and beaten quite a bit in this movie. And
the eye popping, come on.
Jesus, yeah. But then again, Avengement was very brutal too. If you ever saw that. Did you ever see that one with Scott Adkins? Where he was the British prisoner who got out and he holds up the pub?
Yeah.
That had a lot of brutal sequences in it that stretched the R rating. But to me, this was like a Canon Films release that would have slipped out in 1988.
Really? I thought more like, you don't think more Sony mid-2000s, like the Geezer Pleaser era of that with like Cuba and Wesley Snipes and Steven Seagal?
No.
Like, doesn't this fit more into that?
I was thinking more of like something that would have had a short run in theaters and then done very well on video.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about that either. I know that's why this movie's weird to me, because it has those really great fight sequences. He's obviously acting his ass off. But the overall, the feeling of this is just feels like this is for, old guys 55 plus.
Oh yeah, this is definitely for guys of a certain era. Just even knowing who Thomas Jane is. I mean, he's aged quite a bit from his Punisher days, but he's still an interesting screen presence. And I've seen a couple B movies that he's done over the years where he was not very good in it, if I'm being honest. Like Drive Hard. I don't know if you ever saw that with John Cusack. I don't know what choices he was making in that, but
I'm not sure if I saw that.
I don't know if there was a part of the script where he was supposed to have taken a head injury, but he plays that so bizarrely that I watch it.
He's trying to be Nicolas Cage, maybe.
Yeah, but at least Nicolas Cage has there's a reason his character does. There's a backstory, or you can kind of. Thomas Jane was really phone.
No, there's not. He's just
weird.
That's
true. That's true as well. And anyways, I just wasn't a fan of what he was doing in a couple of his other movies. Where in this, though, the second he came on screen and I saw what he was doing, while it might have been a derivative of Nolte, it still was captivating to me, and it was enough to carry it along.
It's interesting, at least.
Yeah, it's a strong character that carries you along.
It didn't bother me one bit that he sounded like Nick Nolte. I mean, sometimes he slips out of it.
Yeah, I noticed that on every couple
honest,
words here and there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's good. I mean, he's playing a gruff character, so it kind of works.
Yeah, I think that they could set this up for possible other installments as well.
I would watch other installments, but they've got to either make it more interesting on the investigative side of it, or move it along faster.
More action.
Somehow.
Yeah, it did get a little dull in the middle act, I would say, when he's in the London and he's going through the various.
Yeah, obstacles. I mean, I don't mind that stuff, but at least make it interesting. It felt like it felt like they were just going through knocking down the dominoes. Like, we're gonna go here. Oh, then these guys show up, and then we gotta go here and do that. And then there's a fight sequence. You're like, that's cool. And then, we gotta go over here, and then we're gonna do. I was like, all right, well, at least make that interesting.
The Debt Collectors had that issue, but those were interesting sequences as well. Those little vignettes.
More action, I would say. So, yeah.
But still, I recommend.
Those did that a little bit better.
I give it a modest recommendation. It's available on Tubi for free right now. If you're available, or if you watch the streaming service, it's available on the recommended page. So give it a shot.
Hey, it's free. Tubi's free, man. Watch
74 million people apparently are. That's unbelievable statistic. And even though we're done talking about the new releases, we'll talk about the trailers in a second. I wanted to talk to you about what's playing in theaters. Have you looked recently at what is available at your local cinema? Have you seen the lineup?
Not one damn bit.
Okay, this is
Barbie.
bizarre. Yeah, right? Barbie, Oppenheimer, and all that. Well,
Barbie.
We know the strike has caused a bit of a product delay in
Expendables this weekend.
which I'm looking forward to. But I want to let you know of some things that are playing around me. This is why I can't figure out what to go to see. So I go look and I see Haunting in Venice, which is standard, and the other title is Big Fat Greek Wedding. I'm used to seeing that. What the fuck is Mark Antony? I take it that must be some sort of...
Is that new?
I think
Mark
it's
Antony or
I don't know.
one?
I think it's a Bollywood film.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I thought there was isn't there an old Mark Antony movie?
Probably.
That's like.
Next we got.
I mean, Mark Antony's obviously a historical figure.
Next we got Jawan, which is another Bollywood film. So, all right. Then you got Bottoms, which is the independent film, and I don't mind a good independent comedy, so I don't mind that. That's fine. And then, which is the most intriguing to me, which I almost pulled the trigger on going today, is The Retirement Plan, the Nicolas Cage film. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's an Ashley Greene, Nicolas Cage film playing at the cinema down the street.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the trailers for it, and I wanted to kind of see that, but I didn't think that was coming out in theaters.
It's got five screenings a day down the street from me. Also, something called The Inventor. What the fuck is The Inventor? A children's film? Like, what is... It's an animated film of some sort. Then we got Bahui Bariyan, which must be another Bollywood film.
Bowie.
I mean, I'm trying to go to the movies. All right, next. Camp Hideout. What the fuck is...
I got one that beats you.
Satanic Hispanics? I'm looking at it right now.
No. I got Route 60, the biblical highway.
I see it here. Yeah. That today is playing at 6:30 and 7.
Jawan?
Yeah, that's another Bollywood film. Then we got The Hill, the Dennis Quaid one. And then we got Golda. I don't even know what the fuck Golda is.
That's all really I have.
What is Golda? It's a Helen Mirren film.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, this looks captivating.
No, none of that's really playing around me, man. So that's just, you're in a special area.
Yeah.
I just have regular movies.
Lucky you.
I don't know if it's lucky. I don't want to see any of these.
Well, I'm trying to go see something here.
Equalizer 3 I might want to see. We didn't go see, Gran Turismo, Equalizer 3.
I didn't see either of those.
Those would be decent enough to go see.
Instead I went and saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is available tomorrow on streaming. So, I mean, I chose poorly.
Oh, God, is it really?
So you got to watch it now.
What's it playing on? Paramount? Fuck, all right. That'll be like, but Paramount Plus is canceled at the end of this month.
Well, there you go. It's your final.
I'll eat that up.
Final.
Mm-hmm. It'll be the final piece of shit that I eat from Paramount Plus.
I think you might be surprised. I found it to be rather enjoyable, as I said on our last episode. Give it a shot. Give it a shot with an open mind. Let's talk about trailers. Let's talk about the long-delayed, much-anticipated at one point, Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, which is the sequel, obviously, to the huge, highest-grossing film, the DC re-expansion universe that no longer exists. I mean, so this is super confusing. But after all the goodwill that Momoa just got from me on Fast X...
He doesn't have those other people in it, so it's okay.
I thought he looked fun and goofy in this again. I thought, okay, maybe this is a little bit of Dante Shantae coming into Aquaman.
Oh, come on. This is the most Marvel-looking fucking DC movie that I've ever seen. It's looks like it's just trying to be fun. It looks like it's big action sequences, grandiose special effects. I think this is going to do pretty well, surprisingly. I thought this was going to be complete dog shit, and it doesn't really look that bad.
It doesn't look that bad. I thought it was curious that there's not a single shot of Amber Heard in this. Isn't
there? I think there's one shot. There's a quick shot. I think there's a quick shot. I could be wrong, but I think there was when someone was trapped in something I think she was hitting up against a window thing.
Oh, you might be right. I think you're right. It was a super quick clip. Yeah, she was wearing like a black outfit, I think, her character.
Yeah, or something like that.
But interesting, they're showing a lot of Nicole Kidman in this, who is clearly returning, and the storyline looks like it's about as perfunctory as possible. A buddy comedy team up with him and his brother, but
this feels like an Iron Man 2 or an Iron Man 3.
Hopefully a little bit funner than those, honestly.
But that's what it feels like. That's the whole point of this, right? There's just a bad guy. Aquaman's there doing his thing. It feels like we don't know where to go, but we need to make another Aquaman movie. And it feels very Marvel-y. Like, it feels... There's no... it's not dark, right? By any means.
No, not at all. Especially coming off of how dark Black Adam was in a lot of ways.
Or most of the DC things have been in general. Even the Flash looked dark. I haven't seen that, but it looked more in line with the Justice League, which they tried to brighten up and really couldn't. But more so with, like, Batman versus Superman and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
I'm intrigued, though. I did like the first one.
I think it'll do well.
I think I will see this. And Momoa is so fun on screen lately that I don't know. I don't know what he's doing or what breakthrough he's made, but he seems so relaxed.
Why did this happen now, not with Conan?
I know, right? And Conan's been on Netflix lately, and it's trending, and you wonder...
It's so fucking horrible, man. If you haven't seen it lately, it's just bad.
It's so
like,
bad. I wonder if he would have got the shot or the nod post Aquaman, if it would have gone different. If he would have had the power. Do you remember when he was interviewed in 2011 when he was fairly non-famous? I mean, he had done a couple things, Baywatch, Stargate, but he wasn't the star he is now. And he said he had written a sequel on set, and he was so excited to do you remember all that? I want to know what that was.
That charisma has always been there, because even before that movie came out, we saw that, I felt like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna be fucking good now, and it's just. God, it's not. Terrible.
Every time I watch it, I have to fast forward 15 minutes past young Conan bullshit.
And he has the charisma. I still think he could be a good Conan right now.
Yeah, I just think that movie he was handicapped by a weak script and a terrible director. That was a project, if you remember, Robert Rodriguez was supposed to take over directing, but he was farming out
King
stuff
Conan.
all the time. Even just that, he was going to do Red Sonja, he was going to do Conan the Barbarian.
I'll take Alan Rickman as Conan at this point. If someone wants to make a Conan movie, let's do it.
Not a bad idea, actually. Not a bad call at all, my man.
There are plenty of big dudes out there who have charisma that we can put in a fucking Conan movie.
I mean, they were talking about Triple H years ago. Remember that?
You just, I don't know about that one. I don't think that would work very well at all, but I don't know. You need a good script at this point, which there's so much Conan, dude. Look, I'm looking at fucking Conan comics right here.
I mean, where's John Milius' script? Can somebody get that and just...
I got the fat Conan the Hour of the Dragon shit right here. Look at this shit. I can just turn any page. It's fucking awesome, man. What the fuck? Can't make a Conan movie? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
There's so much Conan content. Come on.
Yeah, I love Conan, and I wish they would have done it justice, and I'm surprised that it was as bad as it was. It was one of the worst movies of that year. And I've revisited it way too many times, because there are sequences I do like, but the movie as a whole, it's fucking awful. It's so confused when it starts, just the description of the masks and being buried and Jesus, so heavy.
I mean, there was that movie, and then wasn't Hercules like the opposite movie to that came out? That the Rock Hercules.
Well, yeah. Well, then you had Kellen Lutz's Hercules as well, and you had the Rock's Hercules. I mean, you had all these. I mean,
yeah. So there's a slew of bad, which I like the Rock Hercules, but it's not good. Like there was a slew of bad, like sword and or not even sword and sandals, whether like sword and sorcery.
Even just
movies,
mediocre ones like Clash of the Titans, both of those, and the Immortals. I mean, all that kind of stuff. There was a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I like to see that stuff come back, but much better. I mean, they couldn't even. They had to delete the fucking Willow series.
Unbelievable. All right, let's move on and talk about Thanksgiving, Eli Roth's horror film that's going to come out in time for the holiday. This started off, I believe, as a mock trailer in the Grindhouse production that Robert Rodriguez once again collaborated on with Quentin Tarantino. That film itself has now produced 3 films, because you have Machete 1 and 2, which was parody trailers, and now you have
right. And Thanksgiving.
I think Machetes are underrated, actually, especially the second one is real fun.
Hugely, yeah. I like
Mel
those
Gibson's
ones
a blast in the second one.
Yeah.
But What do you think of this trailer? Because you're the horror aficionado, and I want to know.
I'm gonna go
I
see
think it
this.
Looks fun.
I think this looks like a fun slasher movie, and I have not seen just a straight up normal slasher movie like this in a long time. Obviously, this is modern, and it has a modern feel to it, which I don't know, but he does enough of like throwback stuff in here that it just looks interesting, and it looks just looks like a slasher movie. How long has it been since you've seen a slasher movie on the big screen? A new one.
I mean, I saw one of the Scream reboots not that long ago. I think not this one, but the one before.
I don't count those. Those are too big, like the Halloween movies or Scream. Those are huge, though. This is just a slasher.
And not only that, I like Eli Roth. I think he's super talented. After Hostel 2, it really won me over. I saw The Green Room, which I thought was really fun in theaters. I will go see this. I mean, this looks to me, when the guy gets his face slammed against the freezer door, that kind of shit. I love. That's the kind of 80s slasher stuff I want.
Stuck her to it.
That's the kind of where it's not even overly gory. It's your mind is doing a lot of the work.
100%. Oh, when they have the cheerleader bouncing on a trampoline, I'm like, oh, this feels like an 80s movie. This
even
is
the low quality of the film stock, that grain that they added to it. It looked like so. In the theme, of course, a holiday themed, if it's Happy Fool's Day or April Fool's Day or Mother's Day or all that shit,
sure.
It's kind of one of those things.
Valentine, Valentine, yeah, 100%, yeah, I agree. I think this looks decent enough. I don't know, it could be really great, even if it's not. It'll at least deliver on the basic slasher stuff. So
I know horror's having a resurgence lately as well, but a lot of it's been very heavy.
It's big,
right?
Horror,
Smile, Barbarian. Those are high concept horror films in a lot of ways, and
they really are.
This is just a down and dirty slasher film.
Yeah, I know. That's why this is a little bit different than what I guess you can kind of blame Blumhouse, but not so much because their stuff isn't really highbrow anymore. But A24 is really kind of brought that highbrow horror to it, which was kind of where Barbarian comes from, even though Barbarian really isn't, but it plays itself as if it is. I don't know, and Smile as well kind of does that. I think like It Follows.
I didn't, but I always wanted to. I heard it was great.
It's really good, but it's a lot like those. Like it's a highbrow horror movie, even though it's still just straight regular horror. And this doesn't feel like it has any of that, right? It's just a fucking guy running around killing people.
I think it's going to do good business because those were the kind of date movies that I used to go on when I was younger as a teenager. This is, I mean, Roger Ebert once famously said, teenagers love watching teenagers get killed on screen. It's true. I don't know what that is, but it was a big pastime in the 80s. This looks right at home for the kind of movies I loved, and I look forward to seeing this. Maybe even in a theater.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got next? Wonka. My goodness, we have another Willy Wonka film. Let me preface this by saying I hated the 2005 Johnny Depp film. I saw it one time in a theater. I almost walked out. I could not stand it. So, my oh my, was I surprised that I actually enjoyed this trailer, and I'm contemplating watching this movie. I didn't know what angle they were coming from, but I thought this looked fun.
Oh, yeah, Harry
absolutely
Potter,
Harry Potter. I mean, this is not what I thought this was going to be on any level. And I thought, okay, this has got a little something going on here. I take it from your reaction, you did not feel the same, but I was interested.
I think Timothée Chalamet is terrible as Wonka. I think this is just nothing more than an offshoot of Harry Potter. It's not even Wonka. It's just Harry fucking Potter. And I've seen those Harry Potter offshoot movies, at least one of them, that Fantastic Beast shit, and that's what this is. It just looks the same fucking nonsense. There's nothing to this at all. There's no point in this movie existing other than to make another Wonka movie. It's soulless.
Let's make a franchise of Wonka movies, right?
Probably, but it's still soulless. It's just... who's behind this? I don't know. Harry Potter. Harry Potter's behind this. That's what the trailer tells you. Do you like Harry Potter?
No.
You'll love our Harry Potter inspired Wonka. No.
Which is surprising why I thought this looked as good as it did, but for some reason, it just... the original Willy Wonka film scared the shit out of me for some reason. I don't know why. It always freaked me out when I was a kid. I didn't really like it.
It has a darkness to it.
It really does. And Gene Wilder is creepy when he gets mad at the end there. And
I loved it, but yeah, it does have a darkness
kid and
to
his
it.
family.
But it has a realism to it. This movie is fantastical. Again, this movie has no... It's not real. It doesn't take place in anything that you could ever, belong to.
Well, neither did the Tim Burton version with Johnny Depp. I mean, to be fair.
I agree, but that's terrible for other reasons.
At least the Oompa Loompa, Hugh Grant Oompa Loompa in this was amusing in the trailer as well. So I thought this looked cute, and I don't know, I'm not against this one. I thought I understood the appeal.
You'll go see this in the theater then and report back to us, because I'm not watching this.
Or on HBO Max 6 weeks after it premieres.
Or on HBO Max, whatever it may be. I'm not watching this, so you'll have to report. You'll have to do it.
All right. Lastly, we're going to talk about the Marvels. This is the offshoot of Mrs. Marvel and the sequel to Captain Marvel, which is now, I believe this is Phase 5 or the ending of Phase 4. I'm getting lost in these Marvel continuums. However, another sequel, and I have...
Aren't we off Phase 4? I thought we were in Phase 5
Are we in Phase
already.
5? Okay, I'm still in Phase 4 myself. I'm still catching up. I'm still a few movies behind, but...
I don't know.
As a trailer, I was lost from the jump on this thing. I don't know what the fuck is happening here. And I guess that happens if you miss a bunch of episodes of something. But I got to do homework to figure out who this young girl is, what this is happening.
There's a TV show. I don't know if you have to watch it.
Apparently you do, because I didn't know who these people are. I mean,
I just assumed I knew who they were and went along with it for all the trailers I've ever seen of this. Well, I know. Okay, you're right. To some degree, you're right. I did see. So the Monica Rambeau character, because I did watch Wanda.
So did I.
Vision. Okay, well that's
she's in that.
She's in that.
The young girl, though.
Yeah. So I don't know who. But she comes from the show Miss Marvel, as you pointed out earlier, because I couldn't figure out which fucking Marvel, whatever show it was. But Miss Marvel on Disney Plus is where I guess she's from. But I just assumed I knew her and it was fine. You don't have to know who she is.
Did they even show a
just
villain in
just
this? Like an actual villain? I can't even recall if I saw a villain.
Oh, who?
Somebody with like a bracelet of some sort, right? Was coupling on.
Yes, there's...
it became a blur of motion and just idiocracy. Safe to say I'm not...
I don't remember. I mean, I didn't watch this. I didn't refresh myself on this. I've seen several trailers for this. And I don't remember. I remember they get their powers entangled.
Yeah,
and they can't,
great.
If they use them, then they switch
and
places and all that shit.
And then intergalactic is used because it's appealing to our generation. It's just get out of here with this shit. I'm so done with it. Are you not done with it at this point? Does this look appealing to you?
I was okay with. I was okay with it when they did this in Star Trek 3. And I'm not talking about the Search for Spock.
You're talking about Beyond. Yeah, and that was 7-8 years ago now too.
And I was okay with it then, but people had the complaint about it then as well, and I understood it. I was like, yeah, I get it, but I liked that movie, so I was okay with it. I'm sure if you like this movie, you're going to be okay with it, but I do agree with you. I'm tired with the song choices that we are using now, especially in trailers. It's bad, it's just a redo of older stuff. I don't need the member berries dangled in front of me to go see a fucking movie.
And I get that Captain Marvel took place in the 90s, so it would make sense that this is in that era, so they can justify it by that. But even just getting to the visuals, and
is it? But it's not.
I thought the first one took place in the 90s.
Sure, but this movie isn't, right? It almost can't be because it has Monica Rambeau.
Oh, you're right.
They're in fucking space.
They're in the present time.
Doing all that shit. So this is like more modern. I'm not sure. This almost has to be in the Marvel timeline now, right? Almost, yeah. Really has to be, because how else are they going to move forward then?
I didn't think anything was amusing in this trailer. Nothing caught my eye, and the villain was the same old, you're going to pay for what you've done, I'll get my revenge bullshit that I've heard on 33 other movies at this point.
Well, they're moving it around. They don't know what to do with it. It's tested poorly.
It looks poor. I mean, it doesn't look good. So it's just, yeah. I'm very surprised the first one did as well as it did.
Well, the first one was riding a wave that helped it out quite a bit. But as far as like Aquaman goes, like it looks to have the same amount of substance as far as like moving the story plot and everything along. But Aquaman just looks like fun, and this doesn't look like fun.
has a lead actor who's invested himself into being a fucking clown, it looks like, for our benefit, where everyone's too cool for school in this trailer. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, that's a big argument over really just how Brie Larson acts in action movies. Even in the Fast and Furious movies, she acted like she was just the baddest person in the fucking movie.
She acts like she's above the material, so it takes me right out of it.
It's like, you're not that cool.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one, and it doesn't surprise me that it's tested poorly, because what I've seen of the trailer is
I'm not going to watch it, so
poor.
Not looking forward to it. I'm not going to watch it.
Well, I'm sure I will on Disney+. If it's streaming, it's hard to say no. Like, do you have any...
No.
Will you not watch Elemental?
Not for me.
Really?
No.
You won't give it a shot?
Yeah, I'm not watching Elemental. No.
It's free. It's for me.
I have not watched any of the Star Wars stuff. I haven't seen the 3rd season of Mandalorian. I haven't seen, Andor, even though people say it's good. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm done. I'm only going to watch things that I know I'm going to want to watch. I'm not going to watch things people, it's good because people say it's good and I watch it. I'm like, I don't even make it through shit half the time anymore. I'm not doing it. Not only that, if you watch it, they're going to keep making it.
That's kind of the idea, right?
No, I'm not watching any of this kind of stuff that I think that just, I don't want to see any more of it. I'm not going to watch it.
Well, you got to watch The Flash.
Period.
I want to know your thoughts and opinions on that, because that disaster needs to be seen.
I don't even know that I need to watch
by
it.
as many people as possible.
I don't think there's a point to it. I'd watch Aquaman too. I don't have a problem with that. But The Flash just looks terrible, and I've already read about it, and I've seen plenty of it. I don't like. What's the reason to watch it? I don't know. They need to do better with movies. Just period. I need to have a better reason to watch things, because it gets to the point where I'm missing out on Fast and Furious movies because I don't trust everything else. I don't know why. I should just watch the Fast and Furious movies, because I really don't. Even when I cool on the Fast and Furious movies, it's not like I hate them. So I should just watch.
It's a hell of a
those.
commitment, though. A 2.5 hour Fast and Furious movie when you don't know what you're getting walking in.
It's a bit much. It's the 10th fucking one. Like, this is the thing that has to stop, right? Can we make a new thing? Can I get Pitch Black 8 at this point? Come on.
Yeah, you will. I mean, I think he is going to do another Pitch Black movie. So.
Will I? Can I get Triple X 5?
I think we're good on the Triple X movies at this point.
I don't know. I think we got some catching up to do. We have Fast and Furious 10. We got some catching up to do on those other franchises.
The fact that Dwayne Johnson wants to jump back in just goes to show you he's a little scared about his career right now as well, especially...
or how much bullshit all that other stuff was.
It could have been some WWF type shenanigans like we always suspected as well, just so that the big comeback could be heralded and they could...
I mean, his career is not great either. They can't choose. These people... Stars can't choose movies. That's for damn sure.
Well, he has Jumanji, which can be exploited for another couple movies before that runs out of steam. But Kevin Hart is having his own troubles as well.
Yeah. I mean, unless you get lucky with... Yeah, that's true. Unless you get lucky with stuff at this point, it feels like there's not a lot out there that the studios are even willing to make, unless it plays into what they think is safe, which is going to be like Marvel type stuff. Like Jumanji is basically... Watch the first Jumanji movie. Okay, these aren't Jumanji.
No, they're action comedies.
People, they don't make movies like they used to make them, obviously. They make very particular, stylized, perfected movies, and they either catch on or they don't, mostly because they're either fun or they're not. I don't know. Like Oppenheimer's the only thing I can think of for a while that would be something that's unique.
Yeah, it's an adult drama that made $1 billion. I mean, how does that happen?
What happens by allowing someone to do something, right? Which they don't do anymore. They have no trust in anyone other than themselves, and so you don't get anything. I'd like to see Robert Rodriguez make something original. Just go out and make a movie, bro, like he used to do.
Well, for Rodriguez, if we're talking about
Let's make something interesting. Let's make something
pull
out of
him
nothing.
back from the technology, from this going gaga over the blue screens in your own studio and the battlefield, the Alita stuff and all that, and let's get back to the down and dirty basics, because that's where I think where he excels, is just getting a shot in a real environment with a few people.
Let's make something out of nothing. Let's limit our budget. and let's see what we can do. You know, the new faux Star Wars Netflix thing is only like an $80 million budget on that thing, and it looks like it's a $200 million movie. So I fail to see why we need to spend so much money. You know, let's force ourselves to make some decisions here that are artistic, rather than just the no limits.
All right, my last question for the night for you here, Barbie. Over under on the sequels. 5. Over under.
What, are you asking if there's going to be 5 Barbie sequels?
Including spin-offs.
I think under 5. There won't be I don't think there will be much more than 3 Barbie movies.
I say 3 Barbie movies and 2 spin-off movies. I think we get 5.
Oh, well, what do you count as a spin-off movie? Are we talking theatrical or not?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's no way then. I don't think we get 5. Because I think those die, especially by the third one. I think it'll be obvious that that's a dead deal. I think when they try to... I'm going to laugh my ass off if they try to expand that universe and do the other Mattel shit and stuff that they have, because that'll be an instant flop. Yeah, I don't know, man. It don't go beyond 3. There's no way.
I think...
unless at the same time they greenlight a bunch of things.
I think we get a second one and a spin-off before the third one even comes out.
What would be the spin-offs?
Who knows? I haven't seen the movie, but I'm sure there's characters they can spin off all over the place. Yeah.
Well, there's just Barbies.
Well,
what would be the spin-offs?
I mean, I'm sure people are pitching all sorts of crazy ideas to David Zaslav, the head of Warner Brothers right now, for sequels, because this is just making so much money for them. You know they're going to...
I think they'll make a sequel that will do fairly decently, and then they'll do a third one that will do less decent, and then they'll be done.
3 and out, which is typically
if they even get that far, because I don't know how many ideas you have that you'd be confident enough to make that many Barbie movies.
The budget on the next one, just to get the talent back alone, if they haven't signed into multiple deals.
I don't think they bring the talent back. I think they would make a different... and what would they do? What the fuck else is there to do? It's
How
done.
Could they have
that
done anything at all?
From beginning to end, but it's a complete thought. That Barbie movie, it's done. Like, what would go on past that? She has a little Barbie. She has a Barbette. I mean, it makes no... I don't even know what you would do. You know, but you could make sequels in some sense of like other characters.
Barbie in space.
Or a different Barbie. Yeah, Barbie in space. I'd watch that one. Yeah, you know, Rambo Barbie. I don't know.
Yeah, Battleship Barbie, Transformers.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do
Transformers and G.I. Joe meet Barbie.
I'd watch that shit.
All sorts of crazy shit we can do. I mean, after Gran Turismo it really tanked here at the box office, I'm surprised. I thought that would do better.
You know what it did as well? It did as well as Need for Speed.
Which is strange.
So
but even on an international level, Need for Speed did better. And I didn't hate Need for Speed. I actually thought that was kind of underrated.
They're okay. I haven't seen Gran Turismo yet, but it also looks okay.
Yeah, not great.
But I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap up tonight's show. We want to thank you guys for joining us for episode 389. Hello to everyone out there listening on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you're getting these podcasts. We always want to thank you guys for continuing to listen to us and rate and review the show if you get a chance. It always helps spreading the word and getting it out to as many people as possible. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I am Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to MovieMavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!